Welcome to the Don't Avoid Failure, Face It lesson. Don't avoid failing at what you're working on professionally right now. I know it sounds contradictory. It's not like you want to fail. No one does, especially if you want to work on something professionally and get it done and get it seen by dozens, maybe hundreds or thousands of people. But you need to get this fact into your head right now that if you are afraid of failing, it is bound to stop you from experimenting with what you're working on. And you will truly miss out on many opportunities that come your way. Fear will stop you from completing what you want to complete. You must not let your own fears stop you from progressing in your career, business, or life. One of the biggest things holding you back is your own fear. One of the good things about having your big goal, though, is the fact that you cannot really fail at it unless you don't actually try to achieve it. What I mean by this is you will most surely eventually reach it if you continue working towards it. You may fail at some of the smaller goals which help you to reach your big goal, but eventually you will be able to reach your big goal, if that makes sense. Your big goal is so far ahead that it's not like one of those things that's a one pop and done deal. It is something that you work on over years and decades. Don't be afraid to take the actions, the daily actions, to get you closer, even if you have to fail 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 times to succeed. You will succeed that last time. If you are always afraid of failure, you will never take action. If you never take action, you will never reach your big goal. Doesn't that make you afraid to know that you will always be stuck where you are now? But you have the power to get yourself unstuck, and I will help you to get there through strategic studying, planning, and taking action, and then repeating the process. Another interesting but terrible thing is you sometimes don't even know what makes you afraid. You don't even know what makes you fear something. Sometimes your fears are buried deep down inside your subconscious mind. These fears may have been planted from an early age. Maybe you didn't even get enough attention as a child, which caused you to be insecure. Maybe your parents protected you so much that you never learned how to become independent. Whatever your fears are, even the ones hidden in your unconscious mind can be found, forgiven, and improved, or even eradicated. These weaknesses can actually become your strength as long as you accept them as what they are and then move on with your life. It can be scary to face these fears, but it's well worth getting out into the open. Some of you may want to stop this very instant because you don't even want to share your fears with anyone, including yourself. You will just have to get over that. Everything that you say in this course will be completely confidential. So if you want to share something with me, you are encouraged to do so. But you don't have to share everything with me. This is your own personal business. This is your own personal life, but I am definitely here to help you. And like I said, it will stay confidential. I urge you to be open. I urge you to open up and let any of your past pains out of your mind so that you can free it. It will stop burdening you. This mindset will help you to be able to reach your big goal. Neither you nor I want these fears to hold you back. So let's uncover them in this lesson and work on solving them throughout this course. But first, I want to give you some examples so that maybe you can relate with them. I want to tell you a few stories about a few extraordinary people who have overcome their fears so that they can reach their success. The first person, which I'm sure you have heard of, is Elon Musk, who is originally from South Africa. He moved to Canada at a very young age, I think even before 18, and then also moved to America. So if you don't know much about Elon Musk, you probably do know who he is. But if you don't know much about his background, I'll give you a little bit of it. And also, if you want to learn even more about him, there's a great biography about him called Elon Musk by Ashley Vance. So definitely highly recommend that book. So here's a little bit about Elon. So his early life, he was born on June 28th, 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa. As a child, Musk was so lost in his daydreams about inventions that his parents and doctors ordered a hearing test. At about the time of his parents' divorce, which was a tragic event for Elon and his brothers, yet also a blessing because Elon and his father had a rough relationship up to the point where he didn't even want to talk about his father with anyone. Even now, he doesn't want to talk about his father. When he was 10, Musk was able to distract himself by turning his focus over to his interest in computers. He taught himself how to program, and when he was 12, he sold his first software and game called Blastar. In grade school, Musk was short, introverted, and bookish. There's nothing wrong with being bookish, right? He was bullied until he was 15 and went through a growth spurt and learned how to defend himself with karate and wrestling. His mother, Mae Musk, is a Canadian model and the oldest woman to star in a CoverGirl campaign. When Musk was growing up, she worked 5 jobs at one point just so that she could support her family. And Elon Musk's father, Errol Musk, is a wealthy South African engineer. Musk spent his early childhood with his brother Kimbal and sister Tosca in South Africa. At age 17, in 1989, Musk moved to Canada to attend Queen's University, probably to escape his family and avoid mandatory service in the South African military. Musk obtained his Canadian citizenship that year, in part because he felt it would be easier to obtain American citizenship via that path. In 1992, Musk left Canada to study business and physics at the University of Pennsylvania. He graduated with an undergraduate degree in economics and stayed for a second bachelor's degree in physics. After leaving Penn, Musk headed to Stanford University in California to pursue a PhD in energy physics. However, his move was timed perfectly with the internet boom, and he dropped out of Stanford just 2 days to become a part of it, launching his first company, Zip2 Corporation, in 1995. Musk became a U.S. citizen in 2002. As you can see from Elon's story, he had a disconnected childhood. Yes, it wasn't that bad, but still a little bit disconnected. The only thing that could really bring him balance was his mother, brothers, books, and computers. He may not have had the roughest childhood, but his struggles and upbringing did not stop him. He kept on going no matter what, even after his parents got a divorce. Even though his father did not treat him well, like beating him up and everything, all of those things are factors that has helped him to become a successful person. Very successful. And people consider him even the real-life Iron Man. So going on to the next person, which is actually me, Matt Hutson, I really want to give you a background a little bit about where I came from and some of the struggles that I had. So, this is the creation of confidence. Some of the biggest problems that we face in our life gives us strength when we overcome them. I personally have not had the worst life ever. I know that other people have had worse lives than me, but have come out very strong regardless of what happened to them. For me, my biggest problem when I was growing up was feeling insecure about my ability to complete tasks correctly and on time. I felt like I was not as smart as other people just because I couldn't complete tasks very quickly because of ADHD. This disorder has given me an advantage now with extra energy that I have learned to focus deeply on what I truly desire. It has helped me to become the best at what I do. Unfortunately, the school system did not know how to deal with someone of my nature or other kids like me. Instead of trying to help me figure out what the heck was going on, how to channel my ADHD energy and imagination, they labeled me as below average and put me into separate classes where the materials were so basic, I started to believe that I could not ever be as quick-witted as others. I had to deal with being stuck and labeled in these classes where I did not learn much at all about the world or the people around me. But there was one thing that really kept me going and motivated me to become a better person. This one thing built up the confidence in me, knowing that I am not just a below average person. It gave me the confidence in knowing that I have the skill to be even better at anything I do. It gave me the way out of the label the school system put on me. The one thing was being involved in the advanced band and orchestra as the first chair trombonist. Because of my desire to be included in a community as well as appreciated for having a real talent, to be not just normal but extraordinary, I put all my focus in building up my playing abilities throughout all my school years in band and orchestra. I would not have ever made it through school if it weren't for that one passion in music that helped motivate me and push me along. It even helped me to do better in all of my other classes. By the time I graduated from high school, I had nearly a 4.0 in every class, partly because each class was very easy, like I told you before. And now looking back, it was actually not necessary to be music itself as the community. I was really looking for the camaraderie of a community. The musicians, I really loved being part of that. And so I believe that being part of a community and growing together is such a huge influence on anyone. Although I never became a famous musician or a music teacher or anything to do with music at all, I did end up with a huge lesson anyone can apply, which is to have determination and desire with a passion and focus on growing, focusing on one big goal at a time. All of those qualities helped me to overcome the label that they put on me. I could have just given up, but I didn't. I faced my fears of rejection and failure to move on with my life. Being in that band and having that one focus helped me to gain all the qualities that I really wanted to have throughout my whole life, and I am so happy that I have them now. I could go on about my story because there's actually so much more to tell, but that's not the point of this online course, so I will save it for a whole book. Keep your eyes open for that. Now, this next story is a very touching one, and sometimes I even shed tears when reading about it or speaking about it. So, Malala stood up to terrorists, which is a very amazing act, very brave act. So Malala was born on July 12, 1997 in Mingora, Pakistan, located in the country's Swat Valley. For the first few years of her life, Malala's hometown remained a popular tourist spot that was known for its summer festivals. The area began to change as the Taliban tried to take control. Malala attended a school that her father, an educator, had founded. After the Taliban began attacking the girls' school in Swat, Malala gave a speech in Peshawar, Pakistan, in September 2008. The title of her talk was, "How Dare the Taliban Take Away My Basic Right to Education?" In early 2009 was when she just turned 11 years old. Malala began blogging for the BBC about living under the Taliban's threats to deny her an education. In order to hide her identity, she used the name Gul Makai. However, she was revealed to the BBC blogger in December of that year. With a growing public platform, Malala continued to speak about her right and the right of all women to an education. Her activism resulted in a nomination for the International Children's Peace Prize in 2011. That same year, she was awarded Pakistan's National Youth Peace Prize. Malala and her family learned that the Taliban had issued a death threat against her because of her activism. Though Malala was frightened for the safety of her father, an anti-Taliban activist, she and her family initially felt that the fundamentalist group would not actually harm a child. On October 9th, 2012, when the 15-year-old Malala was riding a bus with friends on their way home from school, a masked gunman boarded the bus and demanded to know which girl was Malala. When her friends looked towards Malala, her location was given away. The gunman fired at her, hitting Malala in the left side of her head. The bullet then traveled down her neck. 2 other girls were injured in the attack. The shooting left Malala in critical condition, so she was flown to a military hospital in Peshawar. A portion of her skull was removed to treat her swelling brain. To receive further care, she was transferred to Birmingham, England. Once she was in the United Kingdom, Malala was taken out of a medically induced coma. Though she would require multiple surgeries, including repair of a facial nerve to fix the paralyzed left side of her face, she had suffered no major brain damage. In March 2013, she was able to begin attending school in Birmingham. The shooting resulted in a massive outpouring of support for Malala, which continued during her recovery. Unfortunately, the Taliban still considers Malala a target, although Malala remains a staunch advocate for the power of education. Malala gave a speech at the UN 9 months after being shot by the Taliban. It was her 16th birthday in 2013. Malala highlighted her focus on education and women's rights. Following the attack, Malala said that the terrorists thought they would change our aims and stop our ambitions, but nothing changed in my life except this. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage were born. Malala also urged action against illiteracy, poverty, and terrorism. The extremists were and they are afraid of books and pens. The power of education frightens them. They are afraid of women, Let us pick up our books and pens. They are our most powerful weapons. The examples before having varying degrees of severity, but all of them require a brave mindset and perseverance to continue no matter the cost. Starting something new has its risks, no matter how small or big, and not surprisingly, each one of these risks were necessary steps towards reaching their big goal. Imagine if Elon Musk never had got on the plane to Canada. There would be no PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, and many other things that he has started. If I had never had the desire to be part of a community and just hide in a corner my whole life, you would not be taking this course right now. And if Malala had never stood up to the Taliban for the rights of all girls around the world, then most likely there would be a lot less girls going to school right now. Her story always brings tears of extreme emotion, most of which is hope. And it's not just because the Taliban shot her in the face and she survived, but mostly because of what she stands for. Every person's fundamental right to learn. It sounds drastic, but for some people, facing death is better than staying in a miserable or unfair life position that couldn't be changed without fear and with a whole lot of action. What would you do in the same situation? Your story is different from the previous 3 examples. Everyone's story is different. Yet, there is most likely a through line that connects your story with the 3 before. I believe the through line is the stories above most relate to desiring of change or progress. Elon Musk wanted to put himself in a location where he could leverage the systems around him to build what he wanted. I wanted to escape the label that was put on me so that I could show the world that there are people just as good and as intelligent as anyone else, that no one should be labeled in a way ever again. Malala saw her fight as a fundamental unfairness that all the girls in the world should not experience. She wanted to help this fundamental right to be available for everyone, including herself. You definitely have a big goal that you want to accomplish, just like all the people above do. You don't want to get stuck where you are now. So, ask yourself, what is that need to be changed in your life? What do you need to be changed in your life to make your big goal a reality? There is something holding you back from reaching it. What is it? What is the fear you want to conquer so you can get out of your rut? Now, I will help you dig deep into your past to help you make your present a bright one. Your future a bright one. Here is an exercise to help you figure out your fears and frustrations and turn them into successes and aspirations. This exercise is what we call the 4 forces. So you can see the arrows here. We have immediate, towards, imagined, and away. So the things on the away side of this 4 forces chart, you want to move away from. You want to get away from those. Those are all your frustrations and your fears. You want to move towards your wants and your aspirations. Those are the things that you're trying to reach. Those things are like your big goals. So this is a very good exercise to make things clear for you, to help you to move in the right direction, to go towards the things that you need to go towards and away from the frustrations and the fears. So let me give you some examples here of frustrations. And any sort of frustrations can go in here, but here are some examples just from maybe my life or from other clients' lives. And hopefully you can also fill this in with your own frustrations. And this exercise might take you, a half an hour. It could take you an hour. It really depends on how fast you work on it. But take your time with this. And if you want to, write a few things down and then take a break, you can do that. This does not have to be done in one sitting. You can also add as much as you want to this list. So here are the examples. So in the frustration sides, we have not enough pay, no appreciation, dependent, no close friends or relationships, no energy, lack of motivation. Those are just a few. Obviously, we can add more. Here are some fears. Death. Everyone hates you. Being in large crowds. Failure in everything. You're afraid of that. Being alone or stuck. Never free to decide, to make your own decisions. And the other side of the 4 forces chart is actually really easy to fill out because all you need to do is write the opposite of your frustrations and your fears. And of course, you can always add more to this. But here are the opposites. Enough pay, appreciated, independent, close friends, relationships, a lot of energy, motivated. And for the aspirations, own a business, own a house, financially independent, married happily, travel every month, decide everything on your own terms. These are all things that are valuable and things that you want to work towards. You make it your list. And I'm curious what you have to say. And if you have any sort of questions about what's on this list, you can go ahead and ask me through WhatsApp or through Instagram DM or through email. So feel free and reach out to me anytime you might have a question. And you can download the 4 forces attachment and write your own piece, maybe on a piece of paper, or you can print out the attachment. So it's up to you. And you can put this in a particular place, keep it visible, think about it quite often. It's like your visual version of the big goal. And actually, you printed out the big goal. You wrote that thing out. You probably have it somewhere visible. So keep this one visible and just work through it. That way you can work through your fears and figure out how you can overcome those. Work on those daily. Destroy them and achieve your aspirations. Now, move on to the next lesson after you do the 4 forces.